Hello, and season's greetings to you all, especially to the lovely people who have contributed to this channel over the last few years. This video is a thank you to you all for your continuing support, where I will be reading many of your messages regarding previous videos. So wrap up warm, sit back and enjoy. Our first email is from Dorothy Challand, regarding the Werner Incline. I lived at Ferneyfield House Farm, Ferneyfield Road, Middleton Junction, or so it was addressed at the time, for nearly 20 years. I am Dorothy Challand, née Greenwood, born 1943, and had a brother, John, born 1944, a sister, Barbara, born 1946, and a sister, Judith, born 1956, now sadly deceased. John inherited the farm after my father John's passing, and has himself now moved away from the area. Barbara lives on Morton Street, very close to the former Hunt Lane goods yard, as the map shows. It is she who sent you the links to your videos. Judith moved to Hunt Lane on her marriage in the early 70s, and lived there until her recent death. I moved away from Chadderton aged 21 and now live in Derbyshire. My father's family lived on the farm from the early part of the 20th century, and his father Harold was once Mayor of Chadderton. I am not sure when the farm tenancy with Foxdenton Hall Estate began, but my father, John Greenwood, purchased the tenancy when I was in my childhood. The farm's land extended along the Chadderton branch line, and I clearly remember seeing and hearing frequent goods lane traffic along the line. In later years, my father bought additional land, including Drummer Hill, and part of the Firwood estate along the Rochdale Canal. The farm began a large, well-known riding school and livery yard, and remained as such until he retired. I attended Mills Hill School on Battery Avenue from the age of 5, and in 1954, moved to Chadderton Grammar School on Broadway. I walked every day to school, through the farm and neighbouring farm fields to each school. The journey to the grammar school included crossing the main line to Oldham by Johnny Whitehead's bridge. I remember feeling nervous about crossing the bridge if a train was coming. There was so much noise, smoke and steam. I remember the trains for holidays in Blackpool. We walked to the station at Middleton Junction, and I seem to recall the tiled walls along steps leading up to the platform. I also remember when on our way along the canal towpath that a passing cyclist was so taken, I guess with the sight of a mother carrying a large suitcase with 3 children in tow, that he completely lost concentration and rode into the water. After leaving school, I began work as a laboratory technician at the CWS food factory on Grimshire Lane. The factory had its own goods sidings, bringing in ingredients such as barrels of fruit pulp for jams, pickles, Christmas puddings and the like. I attended Salford College for further education on a day release scheme to gain a HNC in applied biology, just before the college became a university. My memory of the journey is vague, but partly it involved train travel through Victoria Station in Manchester. I only mention it now as an adjunct to the mention of the important mainline traffic going through Oldham, Middleton, Rochdale and Manchester. My memories of childhood and youth were reawakened on seeing the archive photos, maps and stories of the Werner Incline and its local history. Thank you very much. Dorothy Challand. Hello to Graham Crossland, who messaged us regarding part 3 of the Werner Incline series. I lived on Foxdenton Lane, Middleton Junction, from 1959 to 1964, and this video brought back so many happy memories. The pictures of the old lift bridge across the canal were particularly nostalgic. My grandparents lived on Fitton Street, which no longer exists, but is showed on one of your maps. Coincidentally, I worked at Voice Paper, who took over Hunt and Mosscrop at the site where the train went off the rails. Thanks again for the nostalgic journey. Best regards, Graham Crossland. Hello to Maureen Aspinall, who told us that her mum was the station cleaner at Junction Station in the late 50s and early 60s. My brother and me went with her every Saturday morning. We played on the platforms, in the porter's brew room, and even in the station master's office, which was a big sloping desk, loads of brass, and even better, loads of ink stamps and paper. My Uncle Doug was a ganger at Worneth and lived in a railway cottage in Green Lane, Middleton Junction. Hello to Stephen Wentworth Davies, who told me that his mum had a part in the movie Yanks. She was the teacher walking her class down the street, which was past Saddleworth Golf Club, Lancaster Road, Upper Mill. It is a place that I know well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Quickly! 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dave Schofield contacted us, who is the great-great-grandson of William Schofield, who was the employer at the Acorn Mill. He sent us an excerpt from an old letter sent by his great-aunt, Elsie Schofield, William's granddaughter. Grandfather William Schofield, who had the Acorn Mill and manufactured red cotton handkerchiefs with white spots, and also had the mill at Duckingfield, Cheshire, had built a row of terraced houses and shops on Hollins Road, Oldham, named Schofield's Terrace, just below the garden suburb on the opposite side of the road. They may still be there, but much has been demolished. The Acorn was converted into a cinema. The Gem is probably bingo now. And David Gregg sent us an email to tell us about the Ace Mill. I worked in my summer holidays from school at the mill. I was employed as a tuber and doffer, working for one man who operated 2 machines, each one running the full length of the building. As unskilled, I was not allowed to be between the machines when they were active. My job was to remove the full rolls of cotton and fit new paper tubes on the spindles. My work reduced the downtime of each machine to about 10 or 15 minutes. This would mean I would spend most of my time keeping out of the way and allowed to sit on a bag of cotton waste and reading. The noise of the overhead line shaft took some getting used to, eventually being able to avoid shouting and understanding the workers, who spoke almost normally. I was brought up and lived in Moston. I cycled to work, cycled to my aunt in Middleton for lunch, and then back to work to complete my day. Most of the spinners lived in Oldham. I still remember, on my first day, being asked by one man, "Does sport latics, lad?" Only a few miles from home, but a different language. The question being, do you support Oldham Athletic Football Team? The mill, being powered by a coal-fired steam engine, enabled each floor to have a live steam outlet in the room of each landing. Each worker had an enamel container. Each day, he would put tea leaves and cold water into it, then blow live steam into the water for his first drink. This would be repeated during the shift. It was, of course, thirsty work. An open bucket of vegetable oil was handy for machine lubrication. This would inevitably be spilt from time to time, soaking into the building structure. The Ace was lucky to survive. I was in Bradford a few years later and saw firsthand the blaze at a wool mill. Health and safety, they don't know they're born. Regards, David. If you would like to contribute to this channel and join our trips back through time, please contact me through any of the links below. I'm especially looking for railway workers and mill employees for our current series, The A to Z of Oldham Mills, but anybody local with a tale to tell will be greatly received. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.